The year was 1957. Los Angeles shimmered. It was a time of promise and prosperity. The sun-drenched suburbs hummed with optimism, a post-war tranquility. But beneath the surface, darkness lurked. On Halloween night, as children skipped from door to door, a chilling crime shattered this peace, exposing deadly secrets. The Fabiano family lived on Maryland Drive, a street like any other in Southern California. Their home stood as a symbol of hope and new beginnings. But fate had a cruel trick in store. Darkness was about to descend, casting long shadows over their life. Peter Fabiano was a man of ambition. He had brought his family west, seeking fortune and opportunity in the burgeoning city of Angels. His wife, Betty, was the picture of 1950s domesticity. Beautiful and devoted, she tended to their two young children, her life seemingly fulfilled in the sunny sanctuary of their suburban home. Their story, on the surface, seemed like a page ripped from a magazine advertisement, the embodiment of the American dream. But beneath the surface of their seemingly perfect life, cracks began to appear. The pressures of Peter's demanding job, the whispers of discontent, and the ghosts of Betty's past converged to create a dangerous undercurrent in their marriage. The seeds of discontent, once sown, grew steadily, threatening to choke the very life out of their carefully cultivated happiness. Enter Joan Rabel, a writer and photographer who stepped into the Fabiano family's life in 1957. She and Betty grew close, their bond deepening during a rough patch in Betty's marriage to Peter. Their friendship evolved into something more, as Joan's infatuation with Betty intensified. When Betty briefly left Peter, she moved in with Joan, who exploited Betty's insecurities and fed her doubts about Peter's fidelity. Joan hinted at his infidelity, fueling the flames of jealousy that had begun to flicker within Betty's heart. But when Betty decided to return to her husband, things took a dark turn. Peter felt threatened by Joan and the connection she shared with his wife. Betty confessed her affair to Peter, and the two reconciled. But Joan wasn't ready to let go. She wanted revenge on Peter Fabiano for taking Betty away from her. That same year, Joan befriended Goldine Pizer, a medical secretary who was also struggling with her own suppressed feelings. Like Joan, Goldine had gone through a painful divorce and was harboring secrets of her own. Over coffee and late-night conversations, Joan manipulated Goldine into believing that Peter Fabiano was an evil man. Their friendship deepened. And eventually, Joan convinced Goldine to murder Peter for her. On Halloween night, 1957, Joan and Goldine drove to the Fabiano home. They waited in the shadows until the house went dark. Peter opened the door, expecting another trick-or-treater. But instead, Goldine shot him in the chest. Peter Fabiano collapsed, dead within minutes. It didn't take long for the police to close in on Goldine. An anonymous tip led them to the weapon, which she had hidden in a department store storage locker. She was arrested just 2 weeks later, confessing everything. Her chilling words? "It's a relief to get it off my mind." Joan Rabel was arrested shortly after, but she remained silent during the trial, her expression emotionless. Both women were convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. The trick-or-treat murder shocked the nation. What seemed like a random Halloween crime was, in fact, the result of jealousy, manipulation, and a deadly obsession. Joan Rabel and Goldine Pizer were both released from prison in the 1970s. Betty Fabiano lived out the rest of her life in Palm Desert, California, where she passed away in 1999. A quiet Halloween night, shattered by the darkest of secrets. Subscribe to Nightmare Creek for more chilling true crime stories.